Alright, and welcome back to AMJ Forge Works. What we are going to be working on today is turning this chunk of steel into a Damascus billet. This is several layers of 15N20 and 1084. Let's see if I can count these right now. 1, 2, 3, 16 or 17 layer. And after this is all forge welded and drawn out, I'm going to try that thing where where it's cut at an angle and then flipped, so that way that surface is on the face of the knife or face of the billet. Alright, and time to fire her up. Bucket of my most favorite thing in the world. Flux. I actually like it when it's in little chunks like this because, let me not dump all that, because when it's like this and this gets hot enough, I can just drag enough of it over top and it's good to go. Both on. And let's go ahead and get this preheated. Get the WD-40 that I've had it coated in for the past couple of days. Let all that burn off. Alright, let me go ahead and turn this over so it can heat up a little bit more evenly. So what I like doing, I like applying the flux right before it gets red hot, so there's no like scale really being formed. Or to avoid scale being formed and forming in between my layers. Yep, so just like that. I got a Mizo brick in there right now, or Mizu. I love that material, and I want to just make a solid box forge out of it, but that's a lot. And I'll end up doing this a few times with the flux. see it there. I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video feed here and let it heat back up because we're already at 10 minutes. Well, I've had the video feed paused for about, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes. We are almost ready. And all I'm really going to be doing with this is forge welding it and stretching it out a little bit, just a little bit. I think I'll bump this pressure up. I like to keep the pressure at where there's about an inch of dragon's tongue coming out of both ends of this forge. Alright, so I've been letting it soak now for about maybe 20 minutes. I've had the feed paused for quite a while. Right now, I do apologize about the weirdness with the screen. I've had to put plastic wrap around my phone to help try and protect it as much as possible from any slag and molten flux. I mean, hopefully there's enough slack in this plastic wrap, and it's actually really funny because I'm using the plastic wrap that the steel that I'm currently working with came in from Alpha Knife Supply to make this. Just need a little bit of slack in here to catch anything. Just gonna set the welds. Back in, and now I have to let it soak again to get back up to that temperature. And I'll tell you what, this little V4 forge that we've been using since we started about 3-4 years ago, just a few modifications and this thing kicks butt. And this was the original one that we found before they started making them have their own doors on them. And this is something else that I've made. I like this. It's right on top of the billet. Bam, 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 bam. And then that goes back in there for a little bit. Then I'm going to work on flattening out those sides. I'm going to go ahead and take the plastic wrap off because it's no longer necessary. And yeah, we're going to let that soak for about 10 minutes before I do any more work to it. Yeah, I'm going to pause the video feed here. Yeah, it don't like that too much. and that about does it for part one. I need to let it heat back up and soak for about 10 minutes. And yeah, part two is going to be in the same video. All right, and part two of this process. All that I'm really going to be doing, okay, and I need to adjust that light. Yeah, that's pretty good. Good for what I can do right now. I'm just gonna make a light stand. Get some square stuff, make some Damascus twists with it. Basically, okay, so part two is me cleaning this up and getting rid of all of that, so there's no potential for cold shuts, because there is one that's kind of deep in there. And getting that flat, getting that face flat. Yeah, that looks pretty good. This whole side looks pretty good, honestly, in my opinion. As of right now, good sign. This side, not so much. That's why I'm grinding that out, to keep it from forming a cold shut and thus creating a delamination. I will be right back. I forgot something. Now, this is our cheaper backup 2x72. I'm still building the house-made Revolution. Once we get that one fully built, this one's going into storage and being used for backup. And no, we do not have it bolted down currently. This is all done in real time, by the way, for me. I'm not cutting any of this process out. I need to put more water in here. And I am using a combat abrasive 2x72 80 grit shredder belt. That was the Maverick abrasive belt eraser thing. I've been using this belt for about a month now doing it. I think. It might be 3 weeks. All right, and that about does it for the second part. Okay, so yeah, it was about 20 minutes of grinding. I am going to speed this process up by at least 4 times the video normal playback speed. Yep. All right, and welcome to part 3. This is quite literally just 20 minutes later. It took me 20 minutes to grind all that out in the previous section, and I just have it coated in WD-40. As you can see, it's pretty well forge welded. There may be some slight issues just very, I still got to grind a lot out after this is done. And when the forge gets all nice and heated up, oh wow, that looks cool already. Just from a mild oxidation, I can see the pattern on it. That's pretty neat. And that's where I stuck that second piece, the 1080. Oh, it was the second piece of 1084, not 15 and 20. Shit. No, that's 15 and 20. Why is it looking like that? That's really cool. This is something I do not generally do, but I'm doing this today. I'm preheating this in the dragon's tongue before I actually stick this in there. And I am then going to apply another very thin layer of flux around all of those edges. Going to go ahead and pause the video feed. Just unpaused it about maybe 3 minutes later. So, like, we're still heating up. This is going to take about another 10 minutes. I still need to let it soak again before forging it after all of this work. And what we're going to be doing on this one, on this heat, is focusing more with this tool right here. I had originally had this for that, but it works better now that we have this. I do need to add some more material onto here so I can get a better stretch. I maybe should also add another one of these dies right here that's attached into this and the pritchard, or pritchel, whatever it is. The round hole in the damn end. So I'm going to pause it one more time, and the next time I unpause will be the forging, and that will be about another 7 minutes. After I get that stretched out a little bit more, I am going to focus on shutting down the corners. I need to let it heat back up, so I'm pausing the video. And now it's time to start drawing it out on the side to turn it into square bar. what this is just a proof of concept to see if we can do it. And I think this heat and this last draw out is going to be the last one that I do before I cut and restack it. I have to wait about an hour and a half for the whole thing to cool down to be able to do all this, because I gotta grind it. Now it's just to let it heat back up, all the way back up to welding temperature, and to let it cool back down nice and slowly. And that'll be it for this part of the process. Part 4 is coming up. Alright, and welcome to part 4 of this process. I have unfortunately already started cleaning this before re-recording, and I do apologize about that. I'm sorry. But this is the next step right before I'm gonna cut and restack it. And there we go, all cleaned up and ready for cut and stack. I gotta change that around. I ain't doing that no more. And now we go back over to the grinding station. Get that cleaned up first, get that cleaned up because I need to get ready to cut all that. And then weld it back up. Okay, damn. That's why I stand off to the side on this machine. Well, that can be used for some kind of sandpaper now. Okay, I'm going to get a different wheel. And boom, it's done. Now I just got to clean them up and weld them together. All right, and this is part 6 of making this billet, getting it all welded up, and I'm MIG welding it. Just gonna get it tacked up on these corners a little bit first. I don't even have my ground cable hooked up. Ah, crap. All right, let's hope this works. Yep.
There we go, that's all now welded up. And now, got to do the handle. And I'm gonna, no, stop it. Basically, all that I'm gonna do is weld this handle back on. Now for this, I need to go up on my voltage a lot. I was welding at about 17. I'm going to 19 and bumping up the wire feed to 16, well 17, no, 16.7. And there we go. That's done. I'll get back at this tomorrow. It's late. I gotta edit a bunch of this video, and the final part of this will be uploaded tomorrow evening. I've been doing this since about 9 o'clock this morning. Oh no, 10. Alright, and welcome back to AMJ Forge Works. This is the Critic Smith, and this is part 6 of the process of turning that billet of steel into a working knife. Hopefully 2. Sadly, there's not enough visible right now of the pattern for me to even show you. I had to do a test etch on it so I could make sure the side that I wanted on the face of the knife was right there. Alright, and so basically I paused the video there for about maybe 7 minutes, 10 minutes. We're already sitting at 6 minutes and 30 seconds of recorded time. That's probably going to be sped up a little bit maybe. I forgot if I was talking about anything that I was doing prior. Now that I've got the billet sufficiently, or what will become the billet, sufficiently covered in flux, I have to let it heat up and then soak for a little while. Again. This is part 6. I know I said part 6 in the previous part, but that was part 5. This is part 6. There should have been a caption when I said part 6 in the previous part of this video. Alright, and we're almost ready. I want to see if I can get that temperature up a little freaking higher. here in a minute. I'm gonna straighten that piece out. But I need to let that soak for about 10 minutes before I do anything to it. Let those welds adhere as much as possible. All right. I want to say that's pretty forge welded. Oh yeah, I just need to let it cool down now, fully and nice and slowly. After a good long soak, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video feed here because it's just gonna be sitting in there cooking for a little bit. Next up will be part 7 of this video for essentially cleaning it up and making sure there's no D-lams through it and changing the orientation of it slightly. Alright, and welcome back to AMJ Forge Works. This is the Credit Smith. I'm just gonna go ahead and grind this down to a nice clean surface so I can etch it. And make sure that this is the way that I want it to look. And honestly, I don't think I need to do that. Yeah, this is the way that I want it to look. I just need to grind it flat so I can then fix the way that this is going to orient itself. I'm going to pause this here because some of the other videos were really long for this. And that'll just about do it there for the grinding. As you can see, I do not have it fully forge welded yet. I think the centers are, but I got to smash on that end. Sorry, I got to smash on the top end in order to actually finish this weld process out. And the video part 8 will be coming up here shortly. Alright, and welcome to the next step. I'm going to stop numbering them now because I'm personally losing track. And yeah. So what we're going to be doing is focusing on hammering that down, forge welded on the other end, and then I'm going to try and flatten it without messing up those welds. We're at about 4 minutes and 15 seconds in this clip. Always wear your gloves. That was still hot as hell. Pause this because I really need to let that soak. What I'm doing now is focusing on rounding out those corners. And now that damn handle down. That thing is hot. Yeah, I'm just gonna let this soak. I'll be back. We're at 12 minutes and 15 seconds right now. And yeah, it's definitely done so. And here pretty soon, I'm about to start using the shuttle hammer again. And that's pretty much going to be it for this video. All I'm going to be doing is flattening it out into flat stock from this point on.
Alright. Well, this is the final billet. Final product of that entire 40-minute video that took 3 days to make. I like this. This is pretty cool. Finish isn't very good to reveal too much more of a pattern than what I had originally thought about, but yeah, this is pretty cool. That's gonna be toward the back. Yeah, so that's not really gonna be that much of an issue. But I like that. That's really cool. That's a mistake. So I went over to the other side and did that. It's a little utility knife. It's just a rough. I'm going to curve out the handle and the spine. Make it look even. Or rather, make it even because the billet itself is kind of wonky. I didn't need it to be perfectly square, you know? But that's beside the point. Next couple videos, I'll have this hardened and fully etched and all that stuff, so stay tuned.